Maybe something romantic next. Romantic with air quotes, we'll find out. Yes, thank you. Alright. Alright. On the left here we have Hosokawa Tadaki. Seems like a fine fellow. And on the right we have Akechi Tomako. The Hosokawa family was a prominent family in Japan. The Akechi family served the Oda, and eventually the Hosokawa also did. So Hosokawa have land northwest of the capital, the Akechi have land kind of in the capital area, and Akechi Mitsuhide serves Oda Nobunaga. Oda Nobunaga is, by this point, it's the mid-1500s. After 1580, he's pretty much decimated all of the enemies in his central region. Now it's just a matter of which direction do I want to march first? Where do I want to conquer next? So Nobunaga has sent an army this way, and an army that way, and an army out here. All of his best generals are spread out, conquering whatever's before them. And he tells Akechi, hey, here's an army of a couple thousand men, go up and help one of my other generals up here in the northwest. And then he's like, I'm going to go to the nearby temple and pray with just my 200 men. Now, Akechi thought, I don't have his name, but I'm pretty sure I can take his lands. Because Akechi had done things like marry his daughter to the prominent Hosokawa. He's like, oh, I gotta march through Hosokawa lands to get there. I can stop, get their support, and march back. So, long story short, Akechi surrounds Oda Nobunaga in Honnoji Temple and attacks. It's thousands against 200. Doesn't stand a chance. Nobunaga commits seppuku, which is also called harakiri. It's the ritual suicide, disembowels himself, somebody cuts off his head. Doesn't matter, they die in fire anyway if he hadn't. So Akechi now stands to be shogun. Something that Oda Nobunaga never actually got around to declaring himself. Akechi says, nope, killed the most powerful man in the country, I'm shogun. He banked on the Hosokawa family coming to serve him. After all, the future lord of the Hosokawa married his daughter. It's his son-in-law. The problem is Tadaki is a very romantic man. Tomoko is loosely friends with the samurai named Takayama Ukon, who has converted to Christianity. When the Portuguese came with guns in 1543, they also brought the cross with them. As I said, they were Jesuit mercenaries. Christianity for the Japanese was kind of this weird religion. You only have one God? He can't do everything, can he? So it was kind of weird for them, but it was growing in popularity, especially among the poor masses. Akechi, Tomoko, she decided, you know what? This Christianity thing sounds pretty good. I'm just a housewife, I'm sitting around, but I'm too wealthy to actually have to do any work, so why don't I pray? So she converts, and her name becomes Grace, Gracia, or Garasha in Japanese. Hosokawa comes back and finds out, oh, my wife, has converted to Christianity. What would any other loving husband do? Whip her and lock her in the tower. So he had her beat and locked in the tower for a year. And it was, oddly enough, it was one of Nobunaga's other generals that stepped in and said, you kind of like a D-bag here. Maybe you should let her go. You are married to her. So finally, after a year, he relents. All right, lets her out. Hosokawa, although he gets a great reputation nowadays in samurai literature, he really was a D-bag. He was a real good guy for, I'm angry. Where's the nearest female servant? She would look great with a sword through her head. And he would just murder. He had female servants that he loved to cut up. He was a psychopath. So, Akechi was banking on this guy supporting him because, hey, you're my son-in-law, you married my daughter. He's like, yeah, I don't like your daughter all that much, really. I really like you. I'm going to go with the guy with the army twice as big on the other side of me. So he didn't get support from the Hosokawa. In the end, Akechi lost. He's known as the 13-day shogun. Didn't reign for very long. The Hosokawa army came against him along with a combined force of other armies that he thought was going to be on his side. The Ukita, the on him. So later on, some years later, it's now 1600s, 20 years later, Garasha is in the capital. She's in Kyoto. And a little war is brewing that will decide the fate of Japan. Hosokawa is on the brink. He's not sure which side. There's two sides, the east and the west. Not real sure what side to go with. On the one hand, he's loyal to the west. He is a lord of the west. But he owes a bunch of money to the guy in the east. And he's helped him out a bunch of times. So what are we going to do? So one of the western commanders goes into Kyoto, starts gathering wives. Now he has hostages. Well, Garasha, romantically, as the story goes nowadays, Garasha says, I can't allow myself to be used as a hostage against my husband. I'm a Christian. Can't take my life. Suicide will send me to hell. You got a spear. Stab me. She stabbed.
Okay.
The other theory is that Hosokawa told one of his samurai guarding her, if anybody comes for her, stab her real good. Make sure that she doesn't get taken. So, I find it tragically hilarious that he gets such a great reputation, and there's plays in Japan of their romance and how great they were. If you've ever played the game Kessen, Hosokawa was a major character. He joins the East to avenge his wife. Really, he joined the East because, well, the West doesn't have a hostage against me, but they tried to take one. That's kind of rude to me. I'm going East. Before I go on with more of these, is there any samurai that anybody wants to know of? Kato Kiyomasa? Anybody that you've heard vaguely, or some of your favorite samurai from a game? Go ahead.
It's not specific samurai, but a lot of the literature romanticizes Akashi's betrayal of Nobunaga.
Right.
Is there a reason or anything historical that would say that there's more conflict with his betrayal?
Well, even though he only reigned for 13 days, immediately once you cause a revolution, you immediately have to go into propaganda. Why did I do it? One theory was that Akechi had fought against the Hatano clan and had convinced them to surrender a castle. And he said, look, surrender your castle to us, give us a hostage to prove that you won't betray us, and I guarantee the hostage will be safe. So they said, all right, take my mother. So Lady Hatano was sent to the Akechi. Akechi presented it to Nobunaga, and he was like, oh yeah, kill her!
Oh.
So then the Hatano attacked Akechi's lands, because Nobunaga was kind of a D-bag too. And Akechi was like, the other story actually goes the opposite way. Akechi said, I will vouch for you, surrender your castle to me, and I'll give you my mother. And so when Nobunaga was like, all right, fantastic, you got them to surrender? Good. Kill them all and burn their castle down. Akechi was like, whoa, I kind of gave them my mother as a hostage. Nobunaga was like, not my mom, I don't care. So then the Hatano killed Akechi's mother. It depends on which side that you hear. Other reasons were that what you'll see a lot of in the literature is all of these samurai, they were great warriors, but they were also men of literature. They were men of letters, they liked poetry. Akechi was one of them. He had his poetry, he'd read it, and Nobunaga would listen to his general's poetry and he'd be like, I like that one, I like that one. And every time it came to Akechi, he'd be like, you suck. You should just stop. So he was insulted by Nobunaga's regular, berating of him, which is probably actually true, because Nobunaga said he was D-bag. He referred to one of his generals as the monkey, because he's like, you're kind of short, you look like a monkey, I'm going to call you monkey. Another one, he called him dog, because he was like, you're loyal like a dog, you're also ugly like one, you're my dog. Akechi was his useless poet. And there's 20,000 other theories. Well, maybe he did it because of this. Maybe he was just ambitious. Sure, the reality lies somewhere in there. Probably didn't like Nobunaga very much, and he probably thought, well, he just gave me an army of 20,000. He's only got 200. I'm going to take his land.